In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. We're examining how a conservative Texas appeals court 500 miles from Austin decided a police officer's fate and why experts say where the case was heard played a role in the outcome. The case against former Austin police officer Christopher Taylor came down to a question of whether he legally shot a man suffering mental illness. A Travis County jury convicted Taylor for deadly conduct. But 13 days ago, an Amarillo appeals court reversed their verdict. Their decision now sets the stage for the officer to possibly return to work with APD. Here's senior reporter Tony Plahetsky.
I'm going to assess your sentence at 2 years confinement.
Immediately after a judge in 2024 sentenced Austin police officer Christopher Taylor in the death of Morris Da Silva, a man with a knife suffering a mental health episode, Taylor filed an appeal. His case was set to go here, to the all-Democrat Texas Third Court of Appeals in Austin. The Texas Supreme Court then sent this order to the Austin-based court, directing that the first 15 cases the appeals court received on or after December 4, 2024, be transferred to the 7th Court of Appeals in Amarillo. Taylor's appeal was in that batch.
If anything, we caught a break by getting out of Travis County.
Taylor's attorney, Richard Wetzel, viewed the transfer to the all-Republican 7th Court of Appeals as positive.
They're a conservative court. They tend to, as I say, afford deference to law enforcement officers. And I just felt like it was a good court for this case with these issues.
The transfer came through a process the Texas court system calls docket equalization. The state has 14 regional appeals courts, but the workload among the courts varies. Rather than building new courts or adding justices, the state has used the equalization system for more than a century to share the caseload, issuing transfer orders about 4 times a year. Some attorneys say the much-debated process helps make sure cases don't languish in busy courts. But critics contend it takes cases away from communities where they originated.
Oh, I absolutely do think that the transfer mattered.
Chris Perry is an appellate specialist in Austin and followed the case.
I would think if I were Taylor at that time, I would be like, wow, things are suddenly looking up after I was in a dark, dark hole.
Travis County DA Jose Garza called the ruling from the 7th Court of Appeals absurd, adding, quote, "The conservative Amarillo-based 7th Court of Appeals judges think they know better than the Travis County jurors who heard the case and convicted Taylor." Garza could have challenged the transfer, but would not say whether his office intentionally didn't. Wetzel says even though he applauded the Austin to Amarillo transfer, he doesn't think it ultimately mattered.
In the abstract, any judge should have reached this result.
Perry strongly disagrees.
What I see from that opinion is that these judges were trying to get Christopher Taylor off. They didn't like the facts of the case. You're just seeing the bias just pour off the page, drip off the page.
A ruling that has now charted the next actions in the controversial case. Travis County prosecutors are challenging the Amarillo court's ruling to the also conservative Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Meanwhile, the ruling that acquitted Taylor allowed the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement to reinstate his license last week. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis has not decided if she will reinstate him to the department. Tony Plahetsky, KVUE News.
We are learning new details on the death of an Austin spiritual leader last July. Prosecutors now say a 34-year-old man faces a manslaughter charge after a deadly hit-and-run crash on North Lamar. They say Markel Turner was intoxicated when his car collided with another driven by a 16-year-old. One of those cars hit Imam Islam Masad, who was walking on a grass shoulder. He was a spiritual leader at the North Austin Community Center. Masad's death prompted questions about pedestrian safety. Last summer, a city spokesperson said work on sidewalk improvements in that area began last February and will take about 2 years to complete. This week, Austin's mayor and city council members will start the discussion on bringing in an outside group to take a hard look at city spending. Mayor Kirk Watson recently shared a draft plan for that independent audit. It comes after voters rejected Prop Q in November, which would have raised property tax rates by about 20% compared to the last fiscal year. Here's Adam Bennett.
As Austin grows, the city could greenlight a new way to shrink spending. Outside help to find efficiencies across departments and their employees and contractors. It comes 2 months since council passed a tighter budget.
We trusted the voters, we heard the voters.
After voters rejected an expanded tax rate. On City Council's online message board last Friday, Mayor Kirk Watson posted a draft ordinance of what he calls an independent, systemic, comprehensive efficiency assessment for the City of Austin. It directs the city auditor to hire an external consultant with experience in municipal audits. They'd review all other departments at least once every 3 years. The city auditor would report progress and results to the Audit and Finance Committee semi-annually and the full council annually or as requested.
We want to make sure that it's independent, that we're not grading our own paper, if you will.
I asked Mayor Watson how it's different from what the city auditor already does.
In that it's not going to be specific programs like that. It's going to be across the board and keep things rolling over a 5-year period. But the key part of it is we're going to rely upon the expert to tell us how best to do it.
The group Save Austin Now is still gathering signatures for a May ballot item to require external audits for the city. Matt Makoviak is its co-founder.
Yeah, anything that can lead to a more efficient city budget is something that we're in favor of. And the ordinance can move more quickly than the charter amendment can, but we believe that the charter amendment is important not just for this year, it's important for the future of Austin.
Makoviak worries council could reverse the ordinance later. Both sides say they're looking at other cities' audit approaches to help guide Austin's direction.
Adam Bennett reporting there. Mayor Watson chairs the Audit and Finance Committee. They'll start the first public discussion on this outside audit at their meeting Wednesday. Mayor Watson hopes City Council will vote on it February 5th. That's around the same time as the signature deadline for Save Austin Now's ballot petition. Texas Children's is launching its first pediatric helicopter here in Austin. The new KVUE Crew helicopter will provide emergency transport for critically ill children and newborns across Central Texas and the surrounding regions. It's equipped with medical technology and staffed by clinicians who deliver ICU-level care during transport.
So the ability to have this helicopter really extends the care that we're able to offer here in Austin to more rural areas in Texas where there may not be that same level of quaternary care that we can provide here directly in Austin.
The new helicopter can travel up to 120 miles. Those involved say the helicopter was made possible with donations. This is Texas Children's second KVUE Crew helicopter, the first launched in Houston a little less than a year ago. Well, those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.